So we're here at the ABC studios on Tuesday the 12th of March. Beautiful day outside, a fraction hot. And we're here to be interviewed for another update on the Expo 88 art trail and the up and coming Brisbane event history art trail and the Brisbane tennis trail and how they all interrelate. Should be an interesting interview.
Kind of interesting because it relates, well, it's about history, and that's what we're about to discuss this afternoon. As you might be aware, there is a big conversation underway in Australia right now about history. What stories are told, what stories should be told, who gets to decide. These are important questions affecting everything from Australia Day celebrations to university curriculums. Well, in Brisbane, similar questions have been asked about a new public art trail that is currently in development. Pete Racy, you are developing this art trail. We'll get to the argy-bargy in a moment, but can you just tell me about what it is that you are working on? What is this art trail?
Well, Kath, as you know, I've been working on the Expo 88 art trail, and what you may not know is that slightly earlier did quite a bit of work on the Brisbane tennis trail. Sans no art in that one, except possibly for the Stafford racket. And the Lord Mayor, during the work for Expo, we discovered the old city crest that had been down the valley, which was incorporated in a fountain, and the fountain was designed by Brisbane. James McCormack conceptualised it and fought for it over many years. And he designed that particular fountain. So it was one of those serendipity things where it all sort of linked into one another. And from 2012, it was in the back of my mind. And it was after the Lord Mayor was re-elected, he allowed me to have a look at one particular Expo sculpture that's 100 foot high, that's been in a cupboard basically. And when I was in that building, out of the corner of my eye, I spied the city crest underneath an old tarpaulin. And the story to it was that it had gone into private enterprise storage hands, and then the building that it was in had collapsed, and the people that had it under trust rang the council up, said please come and get it. They come and collected it, but it didn't sort of filter its way up to the top echelon. And when I found it, I just was gobsmacked. So it sort of, the Lord Mayor and I harangued him, nagged him, for want of a better word. And then the vision came about, well, we'll use that as the centrepiece after restoring it for the Brisbane event history art trail.
Wow, okay.
And it's a fantastic story. It is a unbelievable little bit of kit, of which there's a photo
Holding
of
up
it.
a picture now. So
Yes,
is that what, bronze or what's it made of?
It was actually made of fiberglass, but it was the sculptor to it was an incredibly talented individual, and he crafted it so that it looked like bronze.
So you have a crest that you found in a warehouse, the Brisbane crest, yep. And so the seed was planted for
exactly
the idea
right.
of what is a Brisbane event history art trail.
Exactly. Now, it's a walking trail. It starts at a point, as it happens, it starts at the G20 sign. And the Lord Mayor gave me the parameters. So I didn't actually have to bring much to bear, because he said, well, it has to have the Gabba for cricket international events, and it has to have Suncorp Stadium because of football, union, soccer, international events, and tennis. Well, the only tennis area that had international events of note was Frew Park. And so it ended up Frew Park. So it starts at the G20 sign, goes to the Gabba, over the Story Bridge, down Ann Street, and into King George Square, up to Roma Street, to the Suncorp Stadium, and then finishes at Frew Park. And it's a walking trail. And within that walking trail, my job was to find and establish what were the historical art pieces left over that then could be linked into a art trail.
Okay.
And of course, when the argy-bargy started in the council chamber, I was surprised a little bit, because I'd actually deliberately picked up and put in 3 Indigenous art pieces,
Well,
one of which covers 40,000 years of history.
Let's catch people up who may be unaware of the argy-bargy that we're talking about here. It's coming up to 3:45. Pete Racy is with you. You're on ABC Radio Brisbane. What was the argy-bargy about?
The councillor for Wollongabba, Jonathan Shree, felt that it needed to, in his words I think, canvass the fact that Australia was invaded, which is a historical fact probably. Wasn't really the nature of the art trail. I mean, it is simply a walking trail that then identifies in the walking trail track historical events. But as I said, it picks up 3 Indigenous bits of history, significant ones as it happens. One that has a very positive story, Arthur Beetson statue. One that has a very sad story, Eddie Albert sculpture at the Gabba, which is really reflective of a very sad time in our history in the 1930s. And then there's a sculpture underneath the Turbot overpass called Freshwater Lens, and that's just reflective of 40,000 years of Indigenous visitations to the area for celebrations of food gathering and season changing and other things. So the art trail did, as it happens, reflect Indigenous culture. Maybe not quite the way that Jonathan felt it should.
Okay, I think his contention was in regards to the inclusion of a statue of the Petrie family.
Yes, that was what the bit of historical event that triggered his emotion. Maybe that's a good way of putting it. But I mean, that was Brisbane's gift to Australia for the bicentenary, and it was a piece that Sally Ann Atkinson had commissioned and is very fond of, I might add, because I'd actually left it out, and I had shown many people the vision that I had, and Sally Ann's comment to me was, well, you would actually miss this piece out, you should put it in. And I looked at the history of it. It is a reflective piece on the changes that triggered by the settlement of Australia. I didn't really see it as sort of pro-Anglophile, nor was it necessarily anti-Indigenous. I mean, it does actually have some Indigenous people incorporated within it, much the same as the frieze on the City Hall itself, which has got the history going from early settlement, pre-settlement to settlement to post-settlement up to around 1930 odd, when Daphne Mayo actually did that brilliant frieze up on City Hall. I mean, it's an interpretation. The art trail itself is a snapshot. It is just a few chapters, not a complete story, and it can't be because it's just a walking trail.
Okay.
But it is going to be the vehicle for the unveiling of this amazing Brisbane City Shield, and that particular piece is the only item left over that celebrates the 1982 Commonwealth Games. It was designed and erected in preparation for the Commonwealth Games, and the Gold Coast has all these wonderful tributes to its Commonwealth Games, and we had nothing.
So we're bringing it out of storage, popping it on a walking trail, and very soon people will be able to take a tour of town and take in these sights. Pete Racy, before I let you go, when is this trail concluded? Can people contribute their thoughts and ideas?
I put up on my Facebook page, a Facebook YouTube, of all the points of interest, which some are now not current because they've been superseded. So people can have a look at that. They can post their comments up on my Facebook page, and when it will finally be coming of an event, I suspect July, August. I mean, there's 30 odd historical points. They are just subsets of everything that the council's already done, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
Peter Racy, this probably won't be the last time that we speak with you on this program. Thank you for your time this afternoon and for the update.
And thank you, listeners.